Hello, Internet! I am Steve. Welcome to Rayfo. Now, who is Brandon Sanderson? You probably know him as your favorite author of the Mistborn trilogy, Elantris, Warbreaker, The Way of Kings, the Stormlight Archive, the Reckoners series, or the last few books of the Wheel of Time. But after digging through a lot of Reddit AMAs, Word of Brandon archives, and a whole bunch of interviews, here are 10 things you didn't know about Brandon Sanderson. Number 1! He's written 45 published works in the past 14 years. That means we get about 3 and a bit published things from Brandon Sanderson every single year. It's amazing. Totals over 15,000 pages, and each page averages about 300 words. So if you took all of the words that you speak during a full year and replaced them with words from Brandon Sanderson's novels, it would take you basically that entire year to get through everything he's written. Number 2, he's won a lot of awards. He's had 7 #1 New York Times best-selling books, had multiple other books that have been on the New York Times bestseller list. He's won awards for Best Epic Fantasy Novel, Best Speculative Fiction Novel, Best Novel of the Year, the coveted Reddit Golden Stabby Award. He got the first one, because he's that awesome. And the Hugo Award. The first award he won was actually in high school. He submitted a short story to a writing contest and took first place. You can actually read that story on his website. Number 3! He didn't like reading as a kid. That's right. Brandon Wynn Sanderson, born December 19th, 1975 in Lincoln, Nebraska. Young Brandon Sanderson did not like to read until the 4th grade. I can only assume he spent his time eating blackberries instead. When his teacher, Mrs. Reader, introduced him to Dragon's Bane by Barbara Hamley. Check out that cover, right? I'd get sucked in too. He started his first novel at 15 years old, but was so embarrassed by it, he hid it behind a painting in his bedroom so his family couldn't find it. Number 4, Brandon Sanderson is a Mormon. I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ. Moved to Provo, went to BYU, almost wasn't a writer, he was a biochem major his first year of college, served a mission for the LDS Church in Korea. When he was on his mission, he realized he really missed writing, but didn't miss chemistry at all. So coming home, changed his major to English, and continued to write. When he was at BYU, he was roommates with another famous Mormon, Ken Jennings, who won Jeopardy! Like 87 times in a row. Number 5. Before he was a writer, he had tons of different jobs. Paper route when he was 12 years old. Roadside corn seller in Idaho. Tie selling kiosk in the mall. A camera photo assistant on picture trips down to southern Utah. An editor-in-chief of the university sci-fi magazine. Now he currently actually teaches at BYU creative writing classes. 1 class every year. Number 6. He wrote 13 books before he sold his first one. Most of those first books were written when he was a hotel night clerk, where the only instruction for his job was don't fall asleep. So he wrote instead. 13 books. And Elantris, his first published book, was number 6. Elantris sat on an editor's desk for a year and a half before they got the gumption to actually read it because it was so thick. 3 chapters in, they called him immediately. Funny thing, by that point, Brandon had changed his phone number, his email address, because he was on AOL, his address. All of his contact information was different from what he originally gave to the editor when he submitted the manuscript. The editor had to track him down through his BYU student account to find how to actually get a hold of him, so he could say that he wanted to buy a book. Of those 12 unpublished novels, you can actually read entirely 4 of them. White Sand, which is now being turned into a graphic novel. Mistborn Prime, which is basically what Mistborn was based off of. Aether of Night, the only canon thing is the magic system, but learning about the magic system in this one is awesome. And Dragonsteel, his master's thesis. The only way you can read it is by going to Brigham Young University and checking it out at the library. There are also selections from others. Mythwalker, you can read chapters of online. Way of Kings Prime, which was his first attempt at the Way of Kings story. And Lyre of Partenell, which is Hoyd's origin story. There are chapters online as well. Number 8. He finished Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series because of a eulogy. He wrote a eulogy for Robert Jordan. Someone gave a copy of that eulogy to Robert Jordan's widow, Harriet McDougall. She read that and said, "This guy gets it. hired him to finish The Wheel of Time. After he'd published 2 books, Elantris and The First Mistborn, then he gets one of the greatest fantasy series of our time to finish. Number 9. Brandon Sanderson is a normal person. On July 7th, 2006, he married a fellow English student, Emily Bushman, because who could resist this? Everyone in the wedding party got swords. And he lives in American Fork, Utah, with his wife and 3 kids, Limeboy, Meatloaf, and Melvin. Number 10. According to a recent Q&A, Brandon Sanderson is retired. Don't worry, it's not what it means.
At the end of the Wheel of Time, we paid off my house, we put enough in savings for the kids and for whatever we would need to pay for the rest of our lives, and I retired. I retired like 4 years ago. Retired for me means I get to write extra books. So thank you guys for that.
And now, some extra tidbits. What are Brandon Sanderson's favorite things? Favorite author, Terry Pratchett. Time to write, midnight to 4 a.m. Cookie, oatmeal with butterscotch. Webcomic, Dr. McNinja. Beverage, ice water. Tabletop RPG, West End's old Star Wars. Citrus fruit, mandarin oranges. Pizza topping, double pepperoni. Dogs, huskies and collies. Non-sci-fi book, Les Mis. Non-sci-fi author, Victor Hugo. Word, inchoate. Inchoate? Inchoate? Soup, really good chicken noodle. Food, mac and cheese. Video game, Dark Souls or Bloodborne. Social activity, playing Magic: The Gathering. Thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to Brandon Sanderson himself for providing some of these childhood photos. Comment below what your favorite Sander fact was, and be sure to subscribe so you're notified for next week's video. If you want to learn more about Brandon Sanderson, I'll put some links in the description so you can read and find out.